is used to create sounds that are plucked or struck, for example, guitars, basses, bells, electric pianos, and more. Instead of just sampling a guitar note, you can literally design what the string is made of, whether it's plucked, struck, or scraped, even how much the string is dampened. For example, press tone adjust. In this program, knob 1 is set up to control if the player is damping the string or not, and everything in between, all in real time. One of the most popular synth technologies is frequency modulation. Sounds are created by modulating one waveform with another. The Mod 7 Modular Wave Shaping VPM synth, the next engine we'll look at, takes this technology to a whole new level, allowing not only waveform modulation, but powerful sample modulation and processing. By the way, SW1 in the name refers to switch 1. Sometimes the name has controller information that's important to the sound. For example, AT for aftertouch, JS-Y moving the joystick in the back direction. In this case, SW1 indicates that switch 1 turns on and off the pad sound. The Mod 7 can create traditional FM sounds like this, but can also create sounds like this. While we're here, let's look at these other controllers. As explained earlier, other than the first 4 real-time knobs, a controller can be assigned to anything, including multiple parameter adjustments at the same time. When I say controller, I mean, for example, switches 1 and 2, joystick plus and minus X, and plus and minus Y. Other controllers include the ribbon controller, the 4 directions of the vector joystick, and more. With all these modulation possibilities, a program is really just a starting point for you to experiment with. You'll find they not only offer subtle music performance expression, but will inspire total sound modifications as well. The 8 sound engines we just looked at are referred to as EXI. You can see EXI written to the left of the sound engine name here. The next sound engine is the HD1 high-definition synthesizer. The HD1 is different than the EXI sound engines. Consequently, it's not possible for HD1 programs and EXI programs to exist in the same bank. Any bank, other than the general MIDI banks, can be assigned to HD1 or EXI in Global. We'll look at that in the Global Disk and Management chapter. This sampling and wave sequencing synth takes sample playback to a new level, with superior sound starting with Korg's proprietary low-aliasing sample playback oscillators, full bandwidth multimode resonant filters, and extraordinarily fast and smooth envelopes and LFOs. Plus, virtual memory technology gives the HD1 access to gigabytes of onboard samples in exquisite detail. From orchestral brass to aggressive basses, all instantly available. The HD1 also features wave sequencing, the ability to play a series of samples one after another, either rhythmically or smoothly, all lockable to tempo. Each step can have its own duration and pitch, creating incredible sound movement possibilities. A few more points about programs. A single program can have 2 EXI sound engines at the same time. For example, this one that uses 2 AL1 sound engines. Or this one that uses an SGX2 and a Mod 7 to create a beautiful piano and string pad. Also, you will find over 200 song programs in the Kronos, designed for use with particular songs. For example, this one. And finally, every program, no matter what sound engine it uses, has access to a 3-band parametric EQ, 12 insert effects, 2 master effects, and 2 total effects. We'll look at the effects in the sequencer and effects chapter. In combination mode, you have hundreds of combination sounds, or combis as they are sometimes called. As the name implies, a combi is an organization of up to 16 sounds from program mode, with each sound given its own key range and velocity range. The 16 parts of a combi are referred to as timbres. Combis can be simple splits like this bass and piano, or layers like acoustic guitar and voices. But there are many more possibilities, as you'll soon discover. Combis are organized in banks of 128 using the same bank buttons used for program mode. And they are selected the same way using the ink deck buttons, the dial, or the numeric keypad, as well as using the screen to select within banks or categories. Some of the categories are named the same as some of the program categories, like keyboard, organ, etc. Others are unique to combi mode. For example, combis in the lead split category have a sound or sounds in the lower range for playing chords, and different sounds in the top range for playing leads. I say sound or sounds because it can be as simple as an electric piano in the lower range and a sax in the top range. Or it could be a layer of several sounds on the bottom, with a layer of several sounds on the top triggered at different velocities. As you hear, Korg's SST doesn't cut off the previous combi. Like in program mode, each combi has access to 12 insert effects, 2 master effects, and 2 total effects. Each timbre has its own 3-band parametric EQ. Every combi, and program as well, has 8 on-screen pads accessed from the EQ Vector Control page group, Pads tab. You can enter the notes manually here, or play the chord, touch chord assign, then touch a pad. By the way, a Korg nanopad can be connected via USB and used to trigger the chord pads. Details are in the PDF manuals and the onboard help system. Once a chord pad has been changed, the combi needs to be saved to retain the changes. You can quickly save the combi over the current location by pressing the Record Write button, then touching OK on the screen to confirm. If you want to rename it before you save it, or save it to a different location, pull down the Page menu and select Write Combination. As we saw in the first chapter, touching T takes you to where you can name the combination. Touch here to choose where you want to save the edited combi. Saving programs is done in exactly the same way. Set lists are designed for performing. They make it simple to play and organize any of the sounds in the Kronos, no matter what bank they're stored in or whether they're programs, combinations, or even songs. There are 128 set lists, and each set list has 128 slots, each of which can be assigned to any program, combination, or song. A set list is like a bank of 128 slots. To select a slot, simply touch the one you want. You can also use the ink deck buttons or the dial. Even an optional foot switch can be assigned to step through the slots. Notice that SST, Smooth Sound Transitions, is available here as well. This section shows information for the selected slot, the number, slot name, and program combination or song name. The comment is shown in smaller text below. Use the scroll bar on the right to view longer comments, or touch the comment area and drag down to reveal the comment pad. The brightness of the text can be adjusted here, and the size of the font here. To close it, touch the X. 16 slots are displayed at one time. You can use these buttons at the top of the screen to display 8 or 4 slots at one time, allowing more room to display the text, useful for lyrics, for example. These buttons take you to the next or previous group of slots. Other set lists can be selected here. Programs, combinations, or songs can be added to a set list in two ways, either from within the set list or by going to the particular resource and adding it from there. To add it within the set list, first select the desired slot. Go to the Edit tab. Select the type of resource here. Select the program, combi, or song here. Programs and combis can also be selected by category. For songs, you can choose which sequencer track you want to play on the keyboard. The other way to add to a set list is go to the program, combi, or song you want to add. From the Page menu, choose Add to Set List. Then choose where you want it inserted. There are many more features that make setlist the ultimate performance tool. For example, a slot can be given any one of 16 colors, making it easier to distinguish between them quickly. Comment text can be added by touching the T. You can type using either the screen or a connected USB QWERTY keyboard. Entering text is fast and easy with features like touch and drag to select text, multiple cut-copy clipboards, and adding line feeds, also known as returns. The control surface will retain the control assigned saved with the original resource. For example, if you use a CX3 organ program set to tone adjust for drawbar control, it will keep that assignment when added to the setlist. Setlist is perfect for performance because Korg listen to the input and suggestions of performing musicians. For example, when you change from one performance venue to the next, you may want to adjust EQ to suit that particular room. So set lists have an additional control surface option not available in the other modes, a 9-band EQ. And finally, on this Edit tab, you can move the slots around using these cut, copy, paste, and insert commands. Be sure to save your setlist before shutting off the Kronos. When you turn off the Kronos, any unsaved edits will be erased. Karma and drum track. Every program in Combi has karma assigned to it. In the basic sense, karma is a technology that creates a musical phrase based on the notes you play on the keyboard, in much the same way as an arpeggiator. However, karma is a technology that provides an extremely powerful music generation engine. Based on the notes and chords you play, karma generates phrases and patterns in real time, generating not just notes, but MIDI control data as well. The karma architecture allows the various patterns to be controlled and varied in real time. The musical spectrum of possibilities is endless. Karma can be used to create anything from spectacular cascades of complex interweaving notes to guitar strumming simulations and much more. To understand karma, it's important to understand what makes up a typical musical phrase. A musical phrase can be separated into different parts. For example, the duration of each note, how many notes are played at one time, the velocity of each note, the panning of each note, etc. Now imagine if you could control each of these parts of a phrase and more in real time. even have the possibility to make parts of the phrase happen randomly in a much more human, non-mechanical way. That is the power of karma. A combi has 4 simultaneous karma modules and a program has 1. To understand karma, let's start with a program. Turn on karma. The pattern generated by the karma module can be latched, meaning the pattern will continue even when I stop playing the keyboard. The control surface is already set to RT knobs karma. In this example, slider 2 is controlling rhythm complexity. Slider 3, note duration. Slider 5, note range. The slider assignments may differ a bit from program to program, but you will notice a certain consistency. You can save up to 8 karma scenes capturing the position and status of the karma sliders and switches, then go from scene to scene to quickly change the karma pattern. You'll notice that as you go from scene 1 to scene 8, the pattern usually becomes busier and more complex. It's important to understand that everything created by karma is simply MIDI information. That means it can all be recorded into the kronos sequencer or an external sequencer. In combination mode, each combi has 4 karma modules. This broadens the capabilities of karma, allowing inspirational grooves to play along with. Almost all combis have the control surface set to RT knobs karma. In this combi, you'll notice that the first 4 switches turn each of the karma modules off and on. Here are the 4 separate karma modules. Karma can generate drum patterns as well. There are actually 5 levels of control selected here, or using the module control button. Karma modules A, B, C, and D can each be controlled separately. M is for master, that controls all 4 modules simultaneously. When you select a combi, it will usually be set to master. Separate from karma, every program and combination is also set up with a drum pattern and drum kit waiting for you to play along with, called a drum track. Simply turn on drum track and start playing. There are hundreds of patterns to choose from. They can be edited or created from scratch. You can even load in drum pattern MIDI files to use. You can also select different drum kits.